Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town Board meeting for February 6, 2017. This evening we're visited by the Boy Scouts Troop 58 from St. Christopher's. Gentlemen, are you going to lead us in the flag, the pledge to the flag?
Heavenly Father, we pray thee to grant wisdom to all who are in authority, that order and justice may be upheld to the benefit of all citizens, and guide us to better serve the people of our community. Restrain those who seek to destroy our government. We ask your divine wisdom to rest upon our leaders to guide them and protect them. Amen.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here this evening and helping us out. These are the future leaders of our town and our area, so welcome. We do have public input next. Brian, has anybody signed up?
Hi, good evening. I wanted to ask a couple standard questions. I wanted to know if there are any updates on Quasar, the lawsuit specifically, any new responses from Ag and Markets. And then regarding the Niagara Sanitation landfill, I wanted to ask if there have been any more notices of claim filed and how many. And if the Aubrey Way subdivision, the Weaver subdivision I call it, is still moving forward. I know that there was talk about that, and it's pretty close to that contaminated area. And if it does move forward, if there turns out to be any contamination, would the town also be liable for that?
I don't think there's anything that I've heard from Quasar nor Ag and Markets.
I can add one thing with regard to the Quasar case since the last board meeting when we updated. As we mentioned, the last update was on the argument that request to rehear the case, which was initially denied. Quasar, or Sustainable Biosolids, they requested that re-argument. They were denied on the re-argument, and then we reported the last time that they filed a notice of appeal on that in addition to the initial notice of appeal.
Okay.
With regard to the first notice of appeal, our attorneys informed us, I believe we're getting kind of close to the deadline from which they were supposed to complete that. We just received last week a request, or was sent to the court, the appellate division, from the attorneys for the appellant to extend the time for them to file their brief. That just came in the end of last week. I believe we'll probably respond. We're not in favor of more time being granted, but it's going to be up to the court to determine that. Typically, unless it seems to be some big abuse of the system, courts typically grant an extension, at least the first time around.
Okay.
So that's the update on that, and that's the only other thing we've heard.
And nothing from Ag and Markets?
I've got nothing from Ag and Markets,
Okay.
no.
And then, before you answer about the landfill, I noticed that the street light is up at Kruger and Nash, or Kruger and the Boulevard, so that's fantastic.
It's the first LED light that we've put up, so comments on whether the LED is better or worse than standard lighting would be helpful.
All right, I'll try and drive through there tonight. And then regarding Niagara Sanitation landfill suits?
We have numerous lawsuits on that, or
Notice of
notices of claim on that.
How many more do you have?
I think the grand total is close to 40, I believe, notices of claims. They're not lawsuits. They're the potential for them to file a lawsuit, but I think we're close to 40.
Okay.
And we won't comment on possibly pending litigations.
And then what about the subdivision that's right in that proximity?
They set up to come to the planning board at the last planning board hearing and then back backed out before, so we're not sure where that stands.
So would you, intervene, like, just that it has to be tabled until everything is settled, or that it's fully tested, because you wouldn't want,
I think that
Another
would come
Forbes-
out, I think that would come out as part of a seeker process, as, whether
so
or
it'll
not-
just move forward?
I mean, it is a private property and will move at its own speed. It starts out with the planning board, the town board has to get involved before
Well,
it's done.
We just wouldn't want another Forbes Terrace thing 50 years from now, so. Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Welcome. Brian? Okay, anybody on any subject before the board? Okay, then I guess we'll move on to, Kathy, for the record, all members are present. We do have a set of minutes, gentlemen, from January 23rd of 2017. Does anybody wish to move those in for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Gil,
I'll
second by
second.
Randy. Anything on the question? Anything that anybody wishes to change? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
That's approved, 4-0 and 1. The regular vouchers this evening are small at $227,550.54.68. The voucher numbers are 2017-0006 through 98. Would somebody please move these in for approval of pay?
I'll make a motion to approve the bill pay with the exception of two vouchers I'd like to hold. 2017 0029, 2017 0030.
I'll second that.
Okay, holding two of the vouchers, moved and seconded. Anything further on the question? All in favor of approval of paying these bills?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved. Do you wish to discuss these other two bills, or do you wish to just hold off for now?
I was going to refer them to our personnel director
Okay,
for his comment back to us.
so we're holding off for now. We'll move on to discussions with our department heads. Paul, how's highway doing? What's a winner?
No snow?
But actually, we get into snow all the time when we get into here and there, that's coming in from the big snowfall. It reminds me of the food truck down there a little bit less, it's still good for the park down the road. So they figure the weather's like this, so we have a park channel, whether there's snow, fall event or not, the day of run is the event. And what happens to the prices, we don't support it so much when the weather's nice like this. Depending on the conditions of the snow, and the cars all over the place, and the kids all, they start yelling and asking for parking tickets. I did have a couple phone calls about it. Why is that so snow about this, where it's really snowing out? You gotta understand, when I do that, I watch temperature. And I don't want my roads to turn into a blackout. So we do use salting on certain things to make sure that we aren't gonna get blackouts. I can't prevent it all the time, but we try. I do have a couple other things about agenda items. One was I had to say that we received a grant from Bridge New York for $138, including seaside extension. It's not a complete paving project, but it has all these, they're gonna give us a scope of that. I know there's something in the agenda about having Rumble help us with the application process for that.
You've received the grant? I haven't seen anything.
So we received, yes, we received Bridge New York. We have to get
Yeah, the county also received one for the bridge on Niagara Road, right?
I'm not sure, did they?
I believe they did.
And we got, put in, I think, 7 or 8 proposals. We got one for the seaside extension. I got the fees on 4 of them, and I'm still waiting to hear about the other one. I'm assuming I didn't get the other one. But it's still nice to get a $138,000 grant. I believe it's, we have to match 5%.
That's a good grant.
The one other thing is, I didn't get the prices advertised. I had some quotes in here for citizen rooftop units on our auction. They worked on it late last summer, and when they came off the roof, they said, we gotta work it for now, but it's on slash lead. I believe it's as old as that part of the building, so it's only 25 years old. It's basically rotting out. So I gave them the 3 quotes instead of big break in the middle
had it in an email today,
Yes.
so we have seen it. But I don't think you have a motion for it at this point, right?
I didn't get a chance to, like I said, Lenny took the cutoff date for that, and the last guy gets back to me was Friday at 3 o'clock. The other thing is I got two quotes, I asked three people to propose in for new heaters in the front part of our garage, those unit heaters. What happened up in the background was, they did inspection from Mount Heat. So they had shut them right off, that was last, the last one that we had that. These are original from the front part of our building, which was built, I don't know, 1970 or late 60s. I believe they're original. I went and tried to put the radiant heaters in there, what we did in the back part of the building, we didn't lower the temperature so we keep the building in. Floors dry all the time, so I'm trying to get some upgrades started here. I can give you the prices if you guys.
Natural gas radiant heaters?
I don't think gas though, it's hard for you to see how much it drops, I mean, air and winter is tough too, because, this one's not really that cold. Like, maybe if you guys want to.
Paul, I see both these bids, and it looks like one contractor was actually low on both of them. If we couple both of them together, is there any savings by doing, awarding both jobs, or no?
The one, like the rooftop unit we're using now for this time of year, we only a day job. The front part of the building, we have to later in the year, because we have some additional oil, I can't finish
Okay.
it off, I can't have the water on it. I wasn't sure what things were on it, so I was figuring.
My other question, it was probably back to our budget director, Ed, if there's money, I don't know, did you budget for any of this in, the 2000?
Comes out of our,
Contractual? Point four, or?
Is there any reason why we need to do it today, Paul, or can it wait until the next meeting? I think it's 3 weeks away, right?
Oh, yeah, the contract is full right now, the prices are better right now than what they're gonna be in July and August. They according to their price, the service is really cheap, I think. I mean, a lot of these guys, I talked to different guys in different houses, they're full right now, and they're all looking.
But if you put the two projects together into one, now you're crossing the line over that $35,000.
Right, and you're gonna have to hire an engineer to engineer that.
That's right. So
Not gonna save it much.
if you have the one and it's urgent and you need to get it done, we could do that and then wait for a future meeting for the other project.
And I decided actually to get a third phase on the front part of the building. The one company did want to give me prices, but they didn't want to do acid fabric for the other two bids, and I did, because I wasn't fair with them. Wasn't fair to them, actually, because we can end up getting a lot more.
Just total, you're talking close to $40,000, right?
30. Yeah, about 30.
About 30. It's a lot to spend without having us have a chance to look at it.
And out of the two, the rooftop unit is probably the one that needs to be updated.
It's more critical than the rest, yeah. And it needs to all around, we'll put one part on it, but it fits to it, because that part of the place is on all off. Up to that, yeah.
I'll make a motion to award his HVAC rooftop unit to be replaced by Greater Niagara Mechanical for $12,480.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Anything further on the question?
Just on the question, the highway superintendent did have two other bids that were higher from two other companies, so this is a low bid.
Anything further on the question? If not, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved, Paul. Let's put together a motion for the other for the next meeting. Water sewer, Rich? Don't say that too loud. We did get a phone call or email, I think it was an email asking about the grant for replacing the generators, or adding generators at the 5 pumping stations. And they were looking for something on that project. Tim, I believe you responded to that, right? I've not heard whether she's satisfied with the answer or not. And the same person also asked us about the Niagara Sanitation landfill fence, and I sent her a whole bunch of information on that, so that's moving along as well. Anything for Rich? If not, then move on to Mike Rinelli, Recreation.
Hello, just a quick recap of Winterfest we had last weekend, 2 weekends ago. It was a well-attended event. The weather was perfect for a winter event, you know, low 30s, snow. We just didn't have snow on the ground. So the outdoor activities were kind of non-existent, but it was well-attended. We had activities at both youth center, community center. You know, thank members of the board that did show up and kind of show us some support. We also had the organization up the road on Ward Road, the Lions Club. Very generous organization. They came out, they set up shop in both buildings, donated coffee, hot chocolate, volunteered their time, didn't charge anybody that came for anything. It was all free. I thought that was just really, really awesome. You know, my hat goes off to them. Also, the ladies auxiliary from St. Johnsburg served, again, volunteered their time, served chowder. They sold out within the first hour of the event, so obviously that they crushed that. The seniors, our seniors sold their stuff, again, volunteering their own time. You know, there was a lot of people that put this together that to come and, you know, an event for the residents, for the community, and I thought it was just awesome. And then lastly, Kathy, our town clerk, she was the brave soul that stood outside the whole time and served snow cones with the other assistant town clerk, Nicole Chef, the entire time. They were out there. Didn't complain. They actually probably had the most fun out of anybody. Everybody came to them because everybody that went either into the youth center or the community center was holding a snow cone. So that was awesome. You know, it was, like I said, it was just an awesome event. I'm glad we started that last year. This will probably be an event. As long as I'm here, we'll be doing that. Moving on. Winter can go away. Like, I'm done with winter. Like, we got baseball, softball sign-ups going on right now. Let's get it going. I'm ready for spring. Let's do this. And then lastly, tomorrow night at the youth center, we have our annual Nerf night. So we'll be there. Any questions? Softball's coming up too.
Okay, any questions for Mike?
Thanks, Mike, for trying something different.
Well,
Really
I
nice
gotta
to try
say,
something different.
I got pushed along by some board members to do it, kind of thinking outside the box. That's kind of what our motto is now, is we just got to try things. You know, that's
Thank
the only
you.
way things are going to progress. Appreciate it. You're welcome.
So far, you're 2 for 2. You've had 2 Winterfests without a drop of snow, so
I know.
you got it pegged.
Hey. We like to keep that up there. No, that's nice. Yep.
Thank you, Mike. Other Mike, Building Department? What is going on with that house on Osprey? It looks like that is actually sold and being worked on. The one at the corner of Osprey and Lakeside. Is it Lakeside? No, it's not Lakeside. So somebody bought it. Good show. That'll be nice. Anything for Mike? Bridget? Nothing from the assessor? Not your favorite time of year? Seniors, Arlene? Did we get any sales from the crafts on, was it? Burkle's bought it all, was it? Anything for Arlene? Thank you, Arlene. We'll move on to Tim at Wendell.
Thank you. We have only one thing on our agenda this evening, and it's basically in line with a motion that the town board made at the last meeting, and that is with regards to the street lighting and signage law updates in the town. As discussed in that motion, we've put together a scope of work that includes reviewing the town code and other codes to see how other municipalities are handling street lights and street signs in different subdivisions. And we've got a scope laid out where we'll have some meetings with the town. We'll discuss what we have found and come to an agreement on what system the town wants to put in place to have that, and proceed through drafting up those changes to the town code and preparing the seeker documentation and public hearings and the rest of the required activities to get those passed into law. So we've put together a proposal for you this evening. I'm here to answer any questions that you may have on that.
Well, there will be some work on that to come.
So if there's no questions on that, that's all I have, other than we did finish the upgrade to the town's GIS website a couple weeks ago on Friday, like we mentioned. Don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at it yet, but as you do your daily work and you take a look at it, you find anything, let me know. Anything you like, you don't like, or anything you want changed on there, please let me know. We'll make it happen.
Are there any changes to expect when we go on?
Well, we have the color-coded zoning map on there now, so that's a lot easier to see, a lot more visually friendly to the eye when you're looking at that. We also have the updated GIS information straight from FEMA's website with regards to floodplains and floodways, so you'll see that looking a lot different. There's a lot more detailed information on there, and base flood elevations, and with the aerials in the background, so that's a lot different. Also, the wetland files have been updated, state and federal wetland files, so you may not be able to tell much of a difference with those, but yes, sir, should be same qualification she had before.
Very good.
Okay.
Any questions for Tim?
I have one question. Maybe you or Mike could answer. Any update on the sports dome complexes behind the Summer Park Mall?
It has not come back to me with any submissions yet. There was talk a couple weeks ago that they were talking with yet another engineering company and maybe considering rotating their two-dome scenario. Since then, I had heard that may be scrapped, and now we're just waiting for the engineering documents to come in. So we're basically still in a waiting mode. It has been approved by the planning board, contingent upon review. We just haven't received any resubmittals yet.
Our LDC working on that new project with the mall, with the the microbrewery that they plan on putting in there. They talked about the significance of having those two domes, and I think the LDC, didn't Supervisor Cliff, did we ask them when they were going to be ready? And they were hearing so many different timetables. I thought it was late summer that they plan on, late summer by early fall, they plan on having that operational.
Yeah, their intent was to start building in March, such that they have contracts for people to come in to use the facilities in October. So they need to get their funds moving if they're going to have that happen.
And our building inspector's back there going like this, and he probably hasn't even
I think
seen
there's still
no building permit yet.
There's still code things that they have to work out, I think, with the building department as well. So we're waiting anxiously. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Regular motions, Matt?
First motion is the one that Tim from Wendell had discussed. Motion to approve proposal for street lighting and signage law updates for an estimated time and expense fee range of $6,000 to $8,000 as outlined in Wendell's proposal letter dated February 1st, 2017.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, moved by Larry. Do we have a second? I'll go ahead and second. Any discussion? Larry, any problem with that?
No, I accept that change.
Okay, I also accept the change, so now we're dealing with the letter dated February 2nd. If nothing further, then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from the Budget Director to approve amendments to the 2017 General Fund and Sewer District budgets to provide for the use of fund balance, to provide the additional budgetary appropriations for the town's share of 2 grants, the purchase and installation of a security fence at the landfill, and the purchase and installation of generators at sewer lift stations as follows. And that's as, I won't read that, that's as presented in the motion package.
So moved.
Moved by Gil. We need a second.
Second.
I guess I heard Larry first. Anything on the question? All in favor of making this transfer signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? That's approved. Ed, are you gonna get back to the state on that, or do you want me to? Okay, either that or tell me and I'll take care of it.
Okay, next motion as follows. Whereas the Code of the Town of Wheatfield contains and specifies the local laws and ordinances of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas the town has developed draft language for a new solar energy system law to be added to the zoning chapter of the Code of the Town of Wheatfield, and whereas pursuant to municipal home rule law, the town board is proposing to adopt this zoning code amendment by enacting local law number 1 for the year 2017. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, New York, that the Wheatfield Town Board amends the Code of the Town of Wheatfield as follows. Amend Chapter 200 zoning by adding a new article, which is to be...
You actually gonna read the whole thing?
No, I'm going to stop
That's good.
before we get to the proposed local. I will stop when we get to the local law. Amend by adding a new article, which number is to be determined, titled Solar Energy Systems, and whereas the Town of Wheatfield Board held the required public hearing on the local law, proposed local law on December 5th, 2016, and the second on January 23rd, 2017, and comments for the public were received and noted, and whereas the Wheatfield Town Board has determined the proposed zoning code amendment will not result in any negative effect on the environment and has issued a negative declaration, and whereas the town has completed the required referral to Niagara County, now therefore be enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Wheatfield, local law number 1 of the year 2017, which amends Chapter 200 zoning by adding a new article, number to be determined, titled Solar Energy Systems, and in the packet is the language of the proposed local law.
I'll go ahead and make that motion.
I want a second on the question.
Go ahead.
I would like to, and I don't know if you'll agree with this, put in 20 feet on all sides and rear yard setback. It's on 200-XXB, ground mounted. That would be 20 feet side and rear yard. And my reasoning is because I don't want neighbor A to control what neighbor B can do in their yard. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the height. On number 6, 750 feet, I would like to see it 500 square feet. That's for the R1, R2, and on articles on 7, that's on the ARRR, which there are a lot of houses in those areas, believe it or not, to be at 1,000 square feet. This doesn't mean they can't go to the ZBA and get their larger, a variance for a larger. It's just what I would like to see on this law, and we need to put this law, into our system.
We definitely have to get, there's been an awful lot of work done on this by a great number of people, including the planning board, including the focus group, and us. I can't disagree with anything that you're suggesting, Randy, so I will change my motion to 20 feet instead of 2 times the primary setback.
That's on side and rear, right?
Well, to clarify, that's on section B1, Randy?
B,
B1.
it says 2 times the primary structure setback, which typically in the housing areas is 10 feet, which would be 20 feet. But if you follow down, it goes to a minimum of 10 feet from any rear line setback. I would like to see 20 feet all the way.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that, so I'll change the motion to read 20 feet. 500 feet on section B6,
Correct.
and 1,000 feet on section B7. It still allows people to have a unit which will do them some good. They can make some money to help pay their own bills and have their own energy. And like Randy said, if somebody needs more, if there's a particular application, you have a large piece of property and you want to make a bigger unit, that's what the ZBA is there for, is to look at specific problem areas. So, we're now dealing with a slightly modified version of the solar law. Anything further on the question?
I was gonna ask, Mike, Mike, on what Randy just proposed, if there's no problems with any of what he said, the 20-footer? Yeah, what if we were to say the greater of 2 times the standard size or 20 foot? So either you do 20 feet or the greater of, so
That's fine.
if you have 20 foot, you double is 40. 40 foot's gonna be greater than 20, go with the 40.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, I'll change that motion, I'll change my motion to make that change as well. That goes back to B1, where it says 2 times the standard primary setback with a minimum of 20 feet. Is that what we're saying?
No, it's gonna be the greater of 2 times the standard primary structure setback or 20 foot. 20 feet.
If AR do that, RR probably is the same. Okay, so our modification to the solar law, we're now dealing with those 3 changes. Is there anything further on the question? If not, then I'm going to ask for a vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, that's approved. Matt, do we need to cancel our moratorium or not?
The moratorium, my recollection, it was based on the filing of a new law. So it will terminate upon our filing. Once this slight modification
get this
is
in.
filed, then that will end.
Okay, and you'll take care of the modifications?
Yeah, I'll work with Drew, who will help prepare it, and we will do the modifications, present it to the town clerk for signature, and we'll send it to the state for filing.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, what's next? Wheatfield local development and town attorney.
Yes. Next motion from the Wheatfield Local Development Corporation and the Town Attorney's Office to reappoint Wheatfield Town Board member Larry Helwig as the Town Board's member and representative to the Wheatfield Local Development Corporation Board of Directors.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gil, second by Art. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion from the Town Supervisor's Office, the Town Attorney Office, and Wendell Engineers to authorize Wendell Engineers to complete bid documents and advertise for bids for the Niagara Sanitation Landfill Fence Project, with the town reserving its right to reject any and all bids.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Second by Randy. Anything on the question? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
Next, motion from the Recreation Department to authorize the Recreation Department to hire a permanent part-time employee at the youth center at a rate of pay and hours as indicated by the job specifications, pending Human Resource Departmental approval and Niagara County Sheriff's Department background check.
So moved.
Moved by Gil, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Art. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion, again from the Recreation Department, to authorize the Recreation Department to purchase a 52-inch quick hitch rotary broom from the Drake Lawn and Garden for a total of $2,152.50 for the purpose of sweeping off the newly installed pathways at Fairmount Park. Said unit will attach to the Recreation Department's current John Deere tractor. Said expenditure will be made from the Recreation Department's 2017 budget.
Need a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Randy, second by Art. I assume this is for the goose dung, Mike, primarily? Are you gonna store it and save it? Fertilizer? Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Next motion, to authorize the expenditure of $7,500 representing the town of Wheatfield's share to commence a study by GAR Associates to prepare a report on the purchase and development rights surrounding the Niagara Air Base in order to protect the viability of the Niagara Air Base.
I'll make the motion.
Does it have, do we have to do this meeting?
We do not.
Okay. I prefer we maybe wait another meeting. I saw the list of participants of people, there are municipalities that were actually donating to this cause. And I didn't see like the town of Niagara, the city of Niagara Falls. It sounded like the NFPA maybe, but
We have, that's why the intent, it's in Wheatfield, it's our problem,
okay.
it's our residents, and it's half of our air base. That's why you next go to the county for assistance, because the county takes in Niagara Falls, takes in town of Niagara, et cetera.
Okay.
NFPA is for the obvious reason, it's the air base. NIMAC is contributing. Right now, we still need a little bit more money to finish.
I mean, I don't know, what's the deadline on approval for this?
I don't think there's a deadline.
Okay.
Just once we have the money, then we can tell GAR to go ahead. Richard probably has more answers than I do, but I can help. Okay, so for no second, then it's gonna be held over to a future meeting. Unless somebody wishes to second. Okay, Highway Department?
Motion from the Highway Department, whereas as the town of Wheatfield received a grant in the amount of $138,000 under the 2016 Bridge New York program for the rehabilitation of Cayuga Drive Extension Bridge over Bergholz Creek, and whereas the town of Wheatfield has an agreement with Wendell WD Architecture, Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture, PC, for professional engineering services, including design, survey, and construction services for locally administered federal aid projects, and whereas Wendell is pre-qualified to perform these services for municipalities within the New York State Department of Transportation, Region 5, and now therefore be it resolved that the board of the town of Wheatfield designates Wendell as the design engineer for the Cayuga Drive Extension Bridge over Bergholz Creek Rehabilitation Project, and be it further resolved that Wendell will submit a specific fee proposal for review and approval once the details of the project are confirmed.
I had a question before we make motions. Who do we get the grant from, or how did we find out about the money? So we didn't get this through our grant writer, Bernie? Okay. Okay, I just wanted to know where the credit, thank you. Good job, Paul.
But I think we have to, I think we have to get, final inspection. Well, it's about $7,000,
Which bridge is it?
by Little Creek Landing, Church Road, the Little Creek Landing behind where Tim Hortons is, there's a concrete pipe, so if you stand over 20 feet, consider that a bridge. That actually was flagged by one of the inspectors, to see that it's repair. It is a, we've been having problems with branches and all that stuff, and it's probably just related to head wall. So, thank you, all the people in the project,
Okay, you're talking the one on Walmore Road, not on Keokuk Extension, right?
Walmart Road, it's a little small, we don't even really know it's there, to be honest with you.
I guess I'm not familiar with it.
I'll make that motion.
Is this something that you can design that he can do, you think, like he did on Walmart Road last year?
Actually, according to the rules, it has to be let out to bid. That would be your state rule, not ours.
It's also a factor of size, the size of the project. We have a motion, we do not have a second. Second by Art. Anything further on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That is approved.
And we have one final, late motion that's not in the package. It's to approve payment of voucher number 2017-0099, which is payment to the Wheatfield Local Development Corporation for the CDBG, which is Community Development Block Grant Program. The funds which have been received by the town on approximately February 3rd, 2017. Payment to the WLDC. Transfer those funds in the amount of $94,531.25 for their administration of the to use for the Jacobs Ladder Grant Program.
So this is the first and major part of that. There's still a few $1,000s that can be used up in that we can get paid to help pay for the administration, but at this point in time the request is the $94,000, $90,000 of which will go to Jacobs Ladder.
Although we're paying this out, there's no cost to the town, right, Ed? So the money, we're just a pass-through. We're receiving the money from the state, but the LDC has to write the check, so we're just passing it back through the town to them. So there's no cost to us. Okay, thank you.
In fact, the town, not the town, but the LDC will be getting control of some of the money because it's a $35,000 loan over 7 years with some interest. And that money, once it's paid back to the LDC, gets to stay with the LDC.
If you have it here.
We didn't approve it, right? Do you have a motion? I'll go ahead and make the motion to make the payment.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's approved.
Okay.
That's our first big project for the LDC, and it's nice to see it coming to conclusion.
And there is one final, again, motion that was not in the package. It's from the Director of Personnel. Motion to accept and approve the hiring of Amy Carr as a typist in the Water Sewer Department effective 2/20/2017 with the corresponding probationary rate of pay.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anything on the question? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I am abstaining. So that's approved 4-0-1.
And that is it for the motions.
We'll move on to board member items. Councilman Hellwig, you bring back any ideas from Florida?
that's all, nothing else.
Gil?
I don't have anything this evening.
Art?
Just a quick announcement, the Veterans Memorial Group meeting is this February 9th at 7 o'clock. Obviously, the public is welcome. We're going to have some discussion about fundraising, and I think we almost have our drawings and plans, and we're ready to take a look at our materials list. We're almost actually ready to begin the kickoff. So we'll be planning our program and kick it off in the spring.
So that's this Thursday over at the community center?
Yes. Thank you.
Anything else? Randy?
Paul, one quick question. How much do we pay for salt? I thought 55. Okay. I went to a family birthday party last Tuesday, and I had to argue with people about spreading the salt, and I tried to explain to them, if you don't salt, then we get sued. So, one of the items of contention was how much we paid. They thought 150. I said 55. So, and maybe. Okay. Understood, and understood, and I tried to explain it to him, but that's all.
Is that it, Randy? Yep. Thank you. I do have a couple of things. There was a message in Sunday's newspaper that there's a meeting on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock. I'm guessing it's in E-140 over at Niagara County Community College. And that is regarding the Northern Access Project, the gas pipeline, the compressor, and the dehydrator. It was sort of a small section in an article, and I think it was in the Buffalo News, if I recall, on Sunday morning. That's the only notice I have of that. We have heard from National Fuel that FERC has passed their project, that they do intend to start building in 2017, and they intend to open in early of 2018. So that should be going on this year, later this year. And we did explain a lot of that to the Boy Scouts here this evening. So hopefully they're experts. NIMAC has a Merrill Lane Memorial Scholarship application. This is available for young men or women who intend to make a life out of aviation and want to get some education as part of being in the service. If there is anybody who's interested in that program, I do have the application here, and I'd be very happy to sponsor anybody who is intending to get into military, specifically aviation, as a career. Merrill Lane started NIMAC many years ago, I guess 1995. He passed away a couple of years ago, and he was very instrumental in making sure that this air base is still here. Great gentleman. That's about all I have. Our next meeting is scheduled for February 27th. At 7:15, there is a public hearing having to do with the tax exemption for people with a limited income who are 65, basically the STAR program. We made some adjustments to it, and now we have to have a public hearing before we can make it law. Just basically raising the rates a little bit to match what the county has done. That's it. So I guess we're back to public input. Is there anybody? Yes, Arlene. Go ahead. It could go to just about, it could go to Kathy, it can go to Debbie Carr, myself, anybody. Yeah, we all can put in a request. You can even call it in yourself. They have a process for putting it in yourself. He's gonna let Agnes do it.
He's actually over the course of the winter, when it starts to go anyway, he goes out and tries to check the roof. He doesn't make every one. But I think we probably 35 to 40 bites that we get. They're really good. Sometimes they're out the next day working on their small places and come out with pretty good. And if you have one, I don't think so, right, Bob? For the next few years, we're still paying them.
That's right.
You know, call them. They just need to give me a phone number and tell them the answer to the phone, and I can go to
It's not metered. We pay a flat fee per year, so, or actually per month, for every one of the lights that's out there. So if it's not working, it's good to get fixed. Speaking of which, Paul, did you ever get anywhere on the Captain's Way to see if those are still out? I think about a week ago, I think I sent you an email that I had heard that they were out again. I've not been there myself. I've not seen it. Anybody on any subject? Yes. It's a good point. Up to through the bid round. Okay.
Yep, this is already
What the,
awarded, this is already,
what this is doing is taking the next step on the fence. Getting that far, and this is probably gonna take a couple of months to have prices in hand, and maybe by then we already know about the $75,000, but it's, if we don't act now, it's not gonna happen this year.
yeah, according to my recollection, that was included in the procedure before. This is just finishing up the procedure.
Okay, anybody else? If not, then gentlemen, thank you for your help, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved and seconded, all in favor of adjourning? Aye. Any opposed?